Ladies and gentlemen, we are here today with Jeanette Rice, the brand new president of American Fidelity. I'm so excited to get to hear some of the things that she's going to share with us today, because I have discovered American Fidelity approaches culture in a unique way. So first, tell us a little bit about you, how long you've been here, your rise to the presidency.
Oh gosh, I started 28 years ago. Woo, I know, it's like yesterday. But the fortunate thing is I started in an area that actually does what our customers do. You know, I started in the human resources area and communications and kind of grew from there. My background is actually in the advertising business, but I switched completely.
Advertising to human resource, now the president.
And then just moved around, but the thing that I know best is what our customers do. So when you talk about worksite benefits, that's providing benefits to their employees. That's the pain points that the employer has, and spending 20-some years in that environment, I feel like I can really relate to the customer.
So you're talking about the customer. I've already spoken with your employees. I'm running around here. They got to watch it last week on the stream. Your employees talk about customers a lot in reference to the culture. I thought that was a very unique approach, so I'd love for you to kind of explain that to me, to the folks watching.
We're passionate about the customer. That is why we are here. Think about it this way. It's like a three-legged stool. One leg is our colleagues, one leg is our customer, and one leg is our shareholder, the ownership. So, you know, the ownership, they're wanting to make our employees happy. We need a great environment to work in. Our employees need to feel like they're empowered to do business. We have a business ownership model. We even pay our colleagues based on business ownership thinking.
I'm a fan of ownership.
So with ownership, then if you own it, and I know what my purpose is here, and my purpose is to serve the customer. Without the customer, we're not here. So if I understand my customer and I understand what I'm supposed to deliver to my customer, that makes my job a lot easier, and I can get passionate about it. And so I have a line of sight of what I'm supposed to be doing.
Can I stop you for a second? Because like every business is serving customers. You know what I mean? Like everybody lives off of the customers. But you know what I discovered, just this, how do you embed that I don't know if it's a priority or just there's this real high regard for the customer and how it impacts how they function as a team. I mean, even you're talking about it, but it's like everybody has customers, but you kind of elevate the customer somehow in this culture.
What we've done, and it's really that empowerment for the customer, and if I can give a little bit of an example, we recently went through a branding effort.
Okay.
And we refocused on what our brand means and what we're about, what makes us different from everybody else. A lot of organizations do that. You can do a pass or fail. One is, yes, I get it, I get people excited, but it really doesn't have an impact to your organization. We wanted to very much be a pass rate. We wanted this to mean something. We've done a lot of market research on it. So once we had our information, well, what do you do with it? You take it to the colleagues. So we took it to the colleagues. Every colleague went through brand training. We understand what it means to serve the customer, get that passion going, but then we turned it over to the colleagues. We have brand champions throughout the whole organization. And what they do is they work with their teams and say, how do we get better at serving the customer? We are a different opinion. We are different than our competition from the standpoint that we're niche focused. We have the availability to offer services and be a little different than than another worksite provider might be. But in order to continue doing that, our colleagues have to emulate that on how to serve the customer. Our sales staff has to emulate that. So we all have this singular focus on what different opinions.
Let me ask you this: how did you insert that into the colleagues? Because that's a difficult. You can kind of discover and conclude, but then getting into the hearts of people. What was the process you implemented for that?
Well, when I mentioned brand champions, so each brand champion was charged with, you go back in your area and we want two things, maybe three at max, that you can implement in the next 12 months that will impact our customer and that will impact our brand. The brand champions work with their teams They came up with, it was remarkable, some of the processes and the way we wanted to serve our customer different, what they came up with. And then they reported back out to all of our senior management. They reported back out to each other, brand champions. Wow. They challenged each other. Actually, a great story was some of our IT champions had this great way of redoing an app or our online service center. And our operations colleagues said, no, wait a minute. You need to, let me give you input on how to do that differently. So they then came in a separate team, went off together on their own, and then they revamped the whole thing. And so we actually have taken a lot of our brand champions to our board of directors, and they've reported out to our board on this is what we are doing to change that customer experience. So I think the difference is letting colleagues own the relationship with the customer, letting colleagues own what are we going to do to make our table stakes better than everybody else.
Okay, let me conclude with this. So basically you said there they had autonomy to go into their areas and discover what served them best. Then they had collaboration across departments even. What has been the accountability? How does that work? Accountability is hard.
We have a brand, I wouldn't call it government committee, but basically they guide our champions. And part of that was, okay, bring what you're doing back to us. We'll get everybody together. We're going to share this, but then we're also saying measure whether this is successful. And then also, when are you going to get this done? What are your roadblocks? Because if you've got roadblocks, bring them back to us because we have to break those down for you. And so they had accountability then on making sure that whatever we were going to do in the next 12 months, we actually did it.
And that is a separate group of colleagues? The accountability people?
No, actually,
brand champions, or
we have a core team that basically owns the governance of our brand. Making sure it stays alive, making sure it is held to what our research is. Keeping it whole. We call it, and so it's a team of about 6 colleagues who actually are responsible for making sure the brand stays whole in our organization. Keeping it.
That's pretty cool.
And there's a lot of excitement with that team. It's a really, really exciting group of colleagues, particularly because we have so many other colleagues that are involved. Right. It's a true waterfall effect.
That's amazing. That's really fun. So autonomy, collaboration, and accountability has made it really successful. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you saw it here. You heard it here. An approach to culture that's customer-centric. Amazing. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
See ya.